Let's go for a little walk. So this is a great thing about the beach in the morning is that I'm it. I get to come down here and sort of what I refer to it is just check in with God. And for me, the word God is just basically a very simple way to refer to my higher power, some power greater than me. Lately, that's also been synonymous with Buddha for me, which isn't necessarily a god. It's more of a way of life. And as I shared a little bit in the blog, is that when my Thai friends, when they make statements like "I'm going to do Buddha," it simply means that they're going to a temple and they're going to hang out with monks. And it's a pretty relaxing kind of thing. So I wanted to bring up the fact, the sort of the discussion of higher power, and I don't want this to be a religious discussion. But I would love to hear in the comments like what you sort of do to seek out serenity. My dad has this phrase like when something really good happens in your life, he says, well, Mike, that's just clean living. And I completely agree. I mean, there's a lot to be said for karma, right? And, maybe the universe rewards you in good ways if you do good things. I don't know. So anyway, I discovered years ago that really being able to get in touch with like a higher power really just made things easier. I'm not saying you need to adopt that. I'm just sharing what I've been able to do. And I think maybe it kind of started out in some sort of form of like desperation, like what is the phrase everyone says? Oh my God! And so maybe that's your first introduction to God. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not a religious guy, but I got to tell you, I do like the fact that I can get in touch with a power that's greater than myself, because it just adds such value. It really gets me out of my head. I don't know what it does for you, but again, I'd like to hear that in the comments. And it really allows me an appreciation for all that is out there, because there's so much that I do not have power over, and people, places, things, and because of that, it's such a relief to be able to say, okay, well, two things: to appreciate and to understand and have relief. And by that I mean I appreciate all the ocean, right? I appreciate everything about the water and this constant flow that I have absolutely nothing to do with. I have absolutely no power over. This guy right here, surf casting and, fishing. So that's a massive appreciation. I have appreciation for so many things. And am honored, quite frankly, if I haven't mentioned it before, it's like I wake up in the morning and I think, okay, I got to wake up this morning. Because, a lot of this is a crapshoot, man. But I just feel so blessed to be able to wake up one more day. Like I've always said, I wake up in the morning and I said, oh my God, I get another 24? What lottery did my soul just win? Let's go do something. So that's the appreciation part. The second part is just the acceptance. So it's real easy to be like, oh yeah, there's a higher power and everything's going great and I have awesome karma and everything. I just won the lottery and I get to come down here to the beach and I'm swimming and it's beautiful and it's sunny and it's raining great. Yeah, thanks God. Oh, thank you, Buddha. But then there's the whole, I guess tragedies or what. That is an enormous V. Can you see that? Is it like in the, oh my goodness. I hope he's not on my head right now. If he is, then that's entertainment for you and acceptance for me. How's that? Anyway, so the acceptance, right? It's like I've discovered, I can get really frustrated when things don't go my way. If I haven't mentioned it before, I'm an only child, which means I have only child syndrome. So when things don't go my way, my default setting is to get disappointed. But in any case, it's like, I can get frustrated or I can just be like, oh, well. And there's a phrase in Thai, which is mai pen rai. And it basically means, no worries. Oh, well, no problem. Don't worry about it. And I love that. I love that I love about like the 12 Thai things I know how to say. Mai Pen Rai is one of them. Because it's like, what are you going to do? What are you really going to do? I'm not saying lay on your back and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to let the world take over and not participate and not, allocate energy towards solution and problem solving. But at some point it's like, okay, well there's nothing I could do about that. Mai Pen Rai. And it's so comforting, It really helps me to just sort of sit back and say, okay, so here's a prayer, and you may not pray, but one of the ones that I really love, it's really short, it's sweet, but it's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I got to be able to accept what I can't, nothing I can do to change things. I can change some things, and, I want some power to be able to do that. So what does that mean? I'm going to get some education. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to seek out things that people have done before in the past to solve whatever problem there is. And I'm going to engage, with other people and say, hey, listen, maybe we could solve this together. Help me. And what I'm describing right there is the wisdom to know the difference. And I think that that's really the biggest challenge. That's the most difficult thing. If I always had the wisdom to know the difference, I'd go into a scenario and say, okay, acceptance. Nope, wait. Courage to I'm going to change the things I can't, I'm going to change this or I'm going to accept this. Yeah, if I could just label everyone that I would see, there would be an enormous amount of serenity, right? Either way. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I mean, I get up in the morning and I walk around, and I'm blessed to have a job. I'm blessed to have a job that compensates me so that I can buy food. And I'm blessed to work with just a rock star staff that, I don't know if you have this where you are, man, but if you manage people or no, even if you don't manage people, if your coworkers are smarter than you are, it makes work so awesome. If you can check your ego at the door. And that's another challenge that I have sometimes, It's like, hey, I'm Mike. I'm pretty smart. Just ask me. You don't know better than I do. Well, chances are you probably do. And if I'm open to it, right? And if I'm open to having the ability to, ask questions and then learn from that. And I don't know, man. It just makes life so much better. And you know what I think is really cool, actually, is doing these vlogs. I really acknowledge the fact that, it's like a stream of consciousness. It's almost like journaling. Which I think is a massive benefit to anybody. And for me, the way I've always described that, and the way I described it in my life coaching, is that for me, I take it in my brain, it goes down past my heart, out my arm, to my hand, on the pen and on the paper, and I can either acknowledge it or let it go. If it's noise that I got up here, it's something that I can let go. If it's thoughts that I don't really have a linear path towards, then it's a solution. I'm putting them all together, stream of consciousness. So these are just some of my just random check-ins for the morning. Lifeguards are coming out. The guys are fishing. And people out here meditating and walking around. It's kind of cool. It's Saturday, July 26, 2015. It's Mike saying, I hope you're living the dream. If you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, and go to livemyassoff.com.